Welcome SRL fans. Today we have a great race. It is the start of the GT3 season in SRL. This is round one at Daytona road course. It's going to look like a very good race today. We have very good drivers on track, in fact. We currently have, well, you already know, Jensen Randall, very good driver, very fast. Cameron Weston Edwards, very fast driver, good at putting pressure on most drivers. Sandra Dooley, you already know, league owner, but also a very good driver. It's been here since day one, of course. We got Reese March, from what I know, is a very consistent driver at this moment, especially in F1. He's been doing very well in both leagues, IRL and SRL. Should be very proud of himself. Obviously, Rene, you've got Rene van der Stapp in Gamer Freak, also a very good driver. Kamikaze Fox, which is Lance LeBron, who is normally the commentator for these races. Well, not these races, but races in F1. Sometimes GT3, but I've taken over the role today, so he can have road duty on this season. We've got Dion Star. What a great driver he is. I mean, he's been doing okay in F1 this season. He's been doing okay, scoring regular points here and there. But I know that he is pretty quick and quite consistent on this game, and does give Jensen Randall a run for his money. But we've also got some new people today. We've got Rob Small. I don't know much about him, but I'm pretty sure he's going to show what he's got on track. We've got Jeremy Pope. You know, I'm pretty sure he's pretty quick, but more is yet to be seen in the track. Max Mulder, the Snow Derby winner, is just disconnected, but I'm sure he'll connect back. He's a Snow Derby winner, so we've already seen he has consistent pace on this game. Whether he can show it in GT3 or not, that is the question to be asked. And then also we got Funds. I don't know his last name, so I'm not gonna say it. Well, I do know his last name, but I just don't want to say it or I'll butcher it. So out of respect, I'm not gonna say it. I'll just say Funds the Legend or something. Is Sam not racing today? I'm guessing Sam's not racing. Aren't you racing today, Sam? Doesn't look like he's in the lobby. But it is going to be a juicy race today, guys. It is going to be a juicy one, because we know what it is. It is Daytona road course, 2.4 hours long. So you've got to have some endurance on the track and also in this commentary box. And this is what I've got because I had a coffee, so I should be alright. Definitely didn't wake up 2 hours ago, an hour ago even. Quickly had a shower, dusted myself off, and now I'm all good. But we have a range of cars today. We have the Audi, the Acura, the Mercedes, the McLaren, the Lamborghini, the Ferrari, the Renault, and the, I mean, I don't know what the other guys are in. Jeremy Pope, Killer KD, I believe they are in, what car are they in? I do not know what car they are in. But it looks like a Dodge or a Merc. We'll see when we get on track. Yeah, no, we have a great lineup of drivers today. It looks like some people keep losing connections. We have to keep inviting them back, but that's okay. Well, so let's have a rundown of the drivers and what they do and how they are in my eyes. Been given in the insight of practice sessions. Jensen Randall is the one to beat apparently. but we already know that because Jensen is always the one to beat in these races. This guy is very quick and he strives to be the quickest in every bit of racing he does. F1, GT3, whatever racing it is, even rally driving, whatever it is, he wants to be the fastest. And he's proven that on many occasions, except for the Derby, where he was beaten by Max, and this is where it comes into play. Can Max be better than Jensen in actual road car racing? It's yet to be seen. Few people I'm excited to watch today, because I've not seen them race before, is Jeremy Pope, and I believe Killer was in here a minute ago. Well, Rob Small was in here a minute ago, but that team, I'm really excited to see what they're about, because I've not seen them drive before. I have seen Kamikaze Fox, Lance drive before. Lance is, I've drove in a practice session with Lance for a couple minutes. He seems to be pretty decent on the pace, so well, it's yet to be seen how he will perform on track. I'm sure he's a very consistent driver. I mean, I don't think he got to show his full ability in the first race that we had. Okay, so I think everyone's in now. I'm not sure. Pretty sure. No. Hold on. Yeah, so Rob Small's in now. Funds. I believe we have everyone in, and we're loading in. Here we go. Here we go. 12 turns, 3.35 length. I believe that. I don't know what's that. Well, for me that would be kilometers. Americans, I don't know what else that would be. Nick Van Gelder, where did he come from? He's just snuck in. Also, we have Nick Van Gelder, who is the Season 1 champion of this GT3 season. So he is the one to beat. Nick Van Gelder is the one to beat. And I believe everyone will have him in their sights. Especially Randall, Jensen Randall. I'm sure Jensen Randall will want to win this first race and get his campaign going. Can I place it? Sam has said, can I place on a bet that Jensen's going to spin? You can. I'll write it down on a piece of paper and charge you after the race. How about that? Okay, so we have trackside view of everyone. I believe this was qualifying, because that's what you do in racing. If you don't know that, you must be dumb. I'm joking. Welcome if you're a newcomer. It will be very interesting to see who's on the pace right at the start. This layout of this track, this thing is so frustrating, but I'm glad I've got onto it now. Who's out yet? So I believe that was Jensen Randall. Was that Jensen Randall? Yeah, that is Jensen Randall, already setting off. He's an eager beaver to get out yet. Alright, yeah, he's the only one going out yet. I believe he's ready to start this race and stamp his dominance. I believe that was one of the front cars actually. Max has come out now, so I'm very interested to see what Max would do today, because he showed a great consistency and pace in the snow, and these are wet conditions, so it's quite similar to the snow. Slippery, you know. Really gone a little bit wide there, getting a bit eager. I'm going to go on Jensen now, because we know Jensen is very quick. We know he can definitely set a great lap. Whether he will do it or not and not spin off track because of these wet conditions is another thing. Go straight in there. So he's going round the first NASCAR turn, turn 1. He's gone around turn 2, going down the back straight now. Looks like Azura is out now. Azura? Azura, that's Funds. I don't want to say his last name. I don't want to get killed. So we have many drivers out on track now, but I really want to focus on Jensen, because he is the front runner here. Currently not on a lap yet, but he will be coming round to set one. Just coming onto NASCAR turn 3 and 4. Jensen is now coming, and he around the first little corner, chicaning. Little S's, 1, 2, lovely jubbly, links out quite nicely there. Coming into the chicane. These drivers ahead of him will definitely need to come out of the way. Especially it's Jensen Randall, so I'm pretty sure he's coming with a lot of pace as well. We've got to try and go to Max, because Max is actually the second driver that was behind Jensen. I believe he's on a lap now. Looks like he's coming with a lot of pace. The Audi looks absolutely spectacular. Oh, Max gets a little mixed up there. Little bit slippery. I don't blame him. To be fair, he looks a bit angry on track there. First little spin off of the day, but he collects the car quite nicely. Jensen coming around the second turn, NASCAR turn 2, down the back straight. I don't know who is in front of him, but could be getting a tad bit of slipstream. Another person I'm actually quite intrigued to see who does well is Dion Stahl, because Dion Stahl, he's been very good in that last race with pace. And I believe he could, if he gets his consistency going, he'll do really well. So alright, so we have our first time, 1:52, pretty much dot by Jensen, a 2:15 by Dion Stahl. I believe he will do a lot better than that. Just behind, 5/10 is Sandro Dulius, who's pretty good time by Sandro. I'm sure he'll want to extend on that though, and definitely try and catch Jensen. I believe this is Lance. Lance is 2 seconds off the pace at the moment, but I'm sure he'll claw that gap back into the front runners, especially in that beautiful yellow Ferrari. We have Dion, Cameron Weston Edwards, sets at 1:57.6. I'm sure he'll claw that more in. Funds at 1:55. Considering Funds is pretty new at this game apparently. I think I learned a couple of weeks ago that Funds actually knew it. This game is actually like new to him. Also me as well. I'm not very thingy with this game, but apparently I have pace to be on the podium. But I sacrificed myself to watch these great drivers perform today. There's no surprise Jensen's right at the top, because he is the guy to beat. Rene, he has just set a 1:41, a 54.1 even. Good little lap by Rene. But everyone seems to be 2 seconds off to Sandro and Jensen at the moment. But like I said, Jensen is the one to beat, and always is the one to beat, because he is always on top. But we are yet to see people actually... Oh, sorry, Jensen goes a 10th faster and pushes everyone away. Closest runner being Sandro, 6/10 away. That is ridiculous. Seeing that by Jensen probably knocks a lot of the other guys' confidence. Killer KD is 7 seconds off of Jensen. That is ridiculous. I'm sure he would really want to reel that in. So we have our first 10 runners actually set a lap. We're still yet to see Nick Van Gelder set a lap, and he is the current champion of this whole series. I believe he really want to put his foot down and stamp his authority and stop Jenson from taking pole. Yeah, we've only got 2 minutes of this session left, and Reese hasn't even started yet. He's just sitting in his Lamborghini having a coffee. But back onto Nick, because he is what we need to look right now. Sandro is on a lap. Hopefully he's doing well on his lap. Yeah, we will see when it comes to the split. Max is just spinning out again. Seems to be having difficulty keeping the car on track right now. Sandro comes through. He's down on his delta. He's down on his delta. It's not ideal for Sandro, but he will take second place off a rolling start. Rene is also on a lap now. I'm sure people will want a yeah, Rene just goes a little deep, but you know, recovers, goes straight back on the power. Farron plays YouTube. I see you in there, mate. I see you in there. So, we're getting to the last knock-ins of this session. Got 1 minute left. Many drivers. Max is in the pits. Funds is in the pits. And Reese is still, I think he's dropped his coffee now and he's just trying to clean it up. So, Nick, I do not know what he is doing. I believe he just keeps invalidating his laps or something like that, because he's still not set a time, and I'm sure he will want to be up there with Sandro and Jenson. We're going to stay on board with him right now. Oh, he just dives back in the pits. Does he? No, he doesn't dive back in the pits. What am I doing? So I think he's on a lap now. I'm not sure. He just set a 2:05. That is not very good. Clearly shown by everyone else being in the 150s and Jenson being in the 151s. Qualifying is now complete. Anyone in the pits cannot set a lap, I believe. So, Funds, Cameron, and Rene and Max are staying where they're staying. So we now are on board with, and I believe I need to try and find his name again, Jeremy Pope. He's in the Porsche. There we go, now we know the car is driving. He is in the Porsche. Porsches are very fast, to be fair. It's just their GT3 make. He's very quick. Whether he can make that work. Oh, he goes straight back in the pits. I think he just returned to garage because he knew he wasn't going to set a good time. But he is fourth, which I'll take. If I was him, I would take that. Especially at the start. You don't know what's going to happen. Dion, I'm quite surprised, is still kind of in that mid-pack battle, top of the mid-pack with Jeremy Pope. I'm sure. Yeah, I don't think he's setting like that. He's driving very slowly. So qualifying is complete. Rob Small qualifies in 10th. Cameron Weston Edwards qualifies in 9th. We still got Lance on a lap, but I don't know who's going to improve or not. If he does improve by just a 10th, oh, well, the session's over. Sorry, guys. So we have our top runners. Jenson Randall, Nick Van Gelder comes clutch at the end. Sandro Dulius, Max. We have Jeremy Pope, and we also have Dion Stott, Rene van der Stapp, Lance, Cameron, Cameron, Weston, Edwards, and then we also have Rob Small. So qualifying is complete. Rob Small qualifies in 10th. Cameron Weston Edwards qualifies in 9th. We still got Lance on a lap, but I don't know who's going to improve or not. If he does improve by just a 10th, oh, well, the session's over. Sorry, guys. So we have our top runners. Jenson Randall, Nick Van Gelder comes clutch at the end. Sandro Dulius, Max. We have Jeremy Pope, and we also have Dion Stott, Rene van der Stapp, Lance, Cameron, Weston Edwards, and then we also have Rob Small. Right, we are starting this race, and this race is going to be great. Look at this lineup we have here. Speedo, let's go. So, here we go. Let's see what everyone... Nick and Jensen right next to each other on that start. Jensen, of course, just a little bit ahead, purely because he is the front runner and has qualified. Sandro third, he'll be happy with that. Max fourth. I think he'll be pretty happy with that, considering all things. I mean, he's the Derby winner, so I'm sure he has some skills. He did beat Jensen in that, to be fair, so, you know. And Nick and Sandro. No, Sandro was not at the Derby, unfortunately. I think he couldn't make it, so. But we're not off yet. A little bit of time just to get their setups ready, make sure everything's okay. So, my predictions for this race, winning, I believe, from what I've seen, just from qualifying, I do believe Jensen will win, because Jensen has been absolutely flawless, 6 tenths away from the pack pretty much, which is exactly what you want. Nick, I believe he'll become second, if he keeps it clean and keeps it to what he needs to keep it. He'll definitely keep up with Jensen, I think, especially if he's got a setup. And here we go. Right, let's go, boys. We've got a rolling start. Starts, and off we go. GT3 season starts now. Jensen just edging ahead, but we have Sandro just on that inside. It's a wet race, so it's going to be very, very slippery into this first corner. Nick goes a little bit wide. Sandro sneaks on his inside. But at least he takes second place off Nick. No, they're battling massively. Nick goes a little bit on the grass. Jensen is already trying to pull away. Looks like he is actually pulling away. Here we go. So, Nick. Jensen is already pulling away massively to the pack. It's exactly what he'll want to do, exactly where he'll want to be, controlling the race. But it is a wet race, so anything can happen. We have crazy Jeremy Pope making up positions into 4th. Rene is 5th. Look at that track angle, absolutely beautiful. Oh, we have a spinner. Oh, there's a little spin here. Who's that? Who is that? I can't really see who that is. I think that's Max. Yeah, that is Max. Oh no, it's not Max. That is... Yeah, that's Dion. Yeah, that is Dion with the spin. Yeah, Dion with the spin. That would not be ideal for Dion. Nick is right on the back of Jensen, and this is exactly what we want to see. He's just on the back of him now. Sandro goes a bit wide there. He'll be compromised into that NASCAR turn 3 and 4. Looks like Jeremy Pope's actually going to get caught by that Rennie Vanderstappen McLaren. Nick has dropped off Jensen a little bit. I think he's made a mistake. Jensen is 2 seconds away. It's already pulling massive gaps to the other people behind him. Jeremy Pope doing well in 3rd, but he has currently got a train behind him of Rene. Sandro has been overtaken by Rene, and then look at the battle back here. Bumpers, fenders, everything going on. Oh my god. Oh yeah, that's Rob Small in the background who's just spun around. So, we currently have your running order right here. Western Edwards, front of Lance. Sandro, just on the back of this train, of Rene and Jeremy Pope. Nick, I believe, where is Nick gone? He's just gone very wide. He's just lost quite a couple positions to Jeremy Pope. Jeremy Pope will be happy with second so far, considering he qualified a little bit lower down than second. Sandro has dropped massively from third. Not exactly what he'll want, but he'll definitely try and get back up into the pack. Jeremy Pope running massively behind Jensen. Jensen is doing very well right now, no mistakes, but I might have just commentated cursed him. Rightio, let's get on to that next battle. So, we have Sandro. Rene, I feel like Rene's just made a mistake. Rene has just made a mistake. That will bring Cameron back into the running. Just behind Rene. They're actually teammates in F1. So, closest battle on track is Nick Van Gelder. And he is on Jeremy Pope. Just going around that first turn. Gets it right this time. Sandro not too far behind though, you can see him just in the background. Cameron, Fonz is right behind Cameron. Juicy little train back here. Dion has actually found his way back to this train. It's doing very well now. Looks like he's actually found his feet a little bit. Nick is a little bit just behind Jeremy Pope. Sandro pouring them in. Yeah. So this is becoming an intriguing battle for sixth. Cameron is the spearhead of this position. Max just behind him. After that, Funds is just behind him, and then after that, Dion Starr. This is very interesting. Fun sends it into that corner. That was ridiculous. Great place into the corner. I love late braking. It's great. It's great fun. So it doesn't look like Reese is doing too well at the moment. He's definitely just spilled more of his coffee on his lap. That is Rob Small off again. Doesn't look like to have a good race, but everything can change in Daytona purely because there is so much time for everyone else to make mistakes and keep their concentration. I mean, if you're already making mistakes in the first couple of minutes, you're going to struggle a lot. So look at this, Cameron Weston Edwards and I believe that is Max side by side on that finish start straight. This rain is coming down massively now. This is making it very difficult for all the drivers. I believe they probably practiced in wets, more in dries than wets, but that is Max making a move on Cameron Weston Edwards. Very easy move after the straight. Cameron doesn't make it too hard. Oh my goodness, Cameron is off the track. And that is Dion and Funds overtaking him. It looks like that Jeremy Pope is actually catching Jensen. And this is very interesting because this can link the battle up for first very nicely, where we have Jensen, and then we have Jeremy Pope, then we have Nick Van Gelder, and then just a little bit behind is Sandro. And he'll definitely collect all the pieces up, especially if there's any battles or any banging or anything of the sort. A little bit far behind is Rene. He's just in no man's land at the moment. He's ahead of the sixth battle, and he's just behind the battle for first. So obviously not ideal for Rene, but in a way it actually is, because in these races, sometimes being on your own, it gives you time to just focus and get into the groove of things. That Porsche is proving to be a very quick piece of machinery in the hands of Jeremy Pope. He's proven that he can stick with Jensen. He's not losing time to Jensen at all. I believe that Porsche is very quick in a straight line compared to that Merc, because that Merc is losing tons of time on the straight. Look at that. That is ridiculous. Nick is just behind Jeremy Pope. Sandro is actually clawing, I believe he's clawing Nick in now. Nick is only 1.6 seconds behind Jeremy Pope. Jensen, I believe he's on the back of someone. It might be. No, he's not on the back of someone. Rob Small is not that far behind. He's very, very far behind. He's almost a minute behind everyone else. And I think that just shows you the difference between him and Jeremy Pope in the Porsche, because you can see that Porsche is catching Jensen all the time. And then, of course, making a couple mistakes here and there was Rob Small, and he's dead last. But you can see, look, he makes up time to Reese massively on the straight. It just shows you how quick that... And this is where I feel like Jensen will be under a little bit of pressure, because he's actually closing in. Jeremy Pope is actually closing in right now on him. I don't think there's any other battles on track that are as close as this. I mean, Funds and Max. I feel like Max has got a little bit, I don't know, needs to be a bit more consistent. I've seen him spin off quite a couple of times, be late into the braking zones. So if he keeps it consistent, he'll be okay. I believe Jeremy Pope might get on the back of Jensen, or even beside Jensen here, because this Porsche has got insane speed. Look at it closing the gap. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. Look at the speed of that thing. It comes alongside Jensen in the Merc. The Merc is just not producing as much power as that Porsche. Oh my god, Jeremy Pope takes the lead. Ridiculous. But Jensen is not going to let him have it that easy. No. But he's still on the inside. No. Okay, Jeremy Pope is now in the lead of this race, and I believe Jensen will not be having any of that. Nick Ragnola is only 1.5 seconds behind. He's going to collect the pieces up, but I believe Jeremy Pope has the pace on Jensen at the moment. I do believe this. I feel like he's got into the flow, and he's definitely got the pace on him in the straights, but this is where Jensen has to make up the time in the corners. Yeah, Jensen makes a bundle amount of time in the corners, but it goes straight back up as soon as Jeremy Pope puts that foot down on the power, because that Porsche just goes straight away. Nick is really clawing them in now. He's only 7 tenths behind these two front runners. This has been very interesting. Sandro will really want to just try and claw this in now, and also getting on the battle. Dion is clawed his way up to 6th from that first spin. Done very well to get back up there. So Jensen is actually dropping now. I think he's 1 second behind now. Jeremy Pope. Jeremy Pope is really flexing the muscles on the straight. Look at that. That is ridiculous. Jensen is dropping like a fly compared to Jeremy Pope on that straight. In the corners, they seem pretty matched, but in that straight, Jeremy Pope is absolutely rinsing all of the cars, and that setup is ridiculous. I do not know how he's running that car so quickly. Yeah, and only the top 8, like Sam has just said, will score points. So up to Funds will score points, which is not ideal for Cameron, because I believe he will really want to score points, but I think everyone in front of him might be quicker than him, and I don't want to make judgments, but I feel like everyone in front of him has just got that little tad pace advantage compared to Cameron. He's seemed to be a little bit behind everyone else. Nick is right on the back of Jensen now. Now Jensen is falling back. Not exactly what he'll want. He seems to be really losing time to these cars, because on the straight, the NASCAR turn 1, 2 and turn 3 or 4, he just seems to be losing bundles amount of time to the car behind him, and it's like he has no straight line speed. I don't know if he's running lean mixture, I don't know if he's running rich mix. It depends, but he's just losing bundles amounts of time compared to the other cars. Sandro really claws in on the straights also. He's only 2.5 seconds behind Nick now. Rene's still very far away in no man's land. He's probably banking on getting them to make a mistake, because, you know, he'll want them positions. But he's in a good position right now. 5th is a nice position for him. He's not doing too bad there. Makes a little bit of mistake into that little chicane, but look at this. Just very nice racing, tight lines. They're very close. Nick is very, very close to Jensen. This is very interesting. He could take second spot from Jensen here. And I feel like he has a little bit of the pace edge on that straight compared to Jensen. Jensen just seems to be under a lot of pressure right now. Seems to be not driving amazingly fast, but and it has to be said that Nick does have the pace advantage over Jensen. Oh, Nick's just gone off. Nick has just gone off. Nick has just gone off. That will open the door for Sandro to take 3rd place off him. He's got more power going into that corner. So Nick makes a mistake. He's made a couple mistakes here. It's kind of cost him a couple positions, and he keeps trying to fight his way back to the top. But at the end of the day, you've got to keep it consistent, and Jeremy Pope has proven that consistency keeps you at the top. I believe Jensen has been very consistent today, but he's not been consistently faster than Jeremy Pope, and Jeremy Pope is absolutely just killing it. I feel like Jensen had a good qualifying car, but compared to the pure pace of Jeremy Pope, he's just not had it. So as you can see, last lap, Jeremy Pope was quicker than Jensen by 2 tenths. Sandro was the quickest behind them. Max, you can clearly see he does have the pace. He is a 156.1, nearly into the 155s, and compared to anyone else, that is nearly a second down on every other car. So we can see he does have the pace. Whether he keeps it consistent for the next laps is yet to be seen, but Nick has dropped quite significantly behind Sandro, nearly a second now, and I think he's just clawing it in just a little bit. Jensen is now 5 tenths away from Jeremy Pope, sorry. So he's clawing him in, but there's no way I feel like he's catching him on the straights unless he is in that slipstream. And even then, I don't think he's going to do it. So, yeah, Nick's at a 2:02 from that crash, and Max at 1:58.5, so still not as quick as Rene. If they do, this is what I've seen in GT3, if you keep it consistent with your lap times, keep just on the power, you know, nicely coasting into corners and then coming out of corners, you'll make up the time, and then you'll find yourself behind another car. And this is how it works. But when you start making mistakes and you start losing time in areas that you know that you can make up time, it's quite frustrating, and then sometimes it can take a mental strain on the driver. And you know, when you do have that mental strain, it just makes your driving about two seconds slower, because you start getting angry and you start making mistakes, and then it's not ideal. Such as Nick, just on the grass there, like, he's making tons of mistakes, tons, and this is costing him time. Look, he's already dropped 2 seconds back from Sandro, nearly 2.5 seconds, and we know Nick's got the pace. We do know Nick's got the pace, and you know, you clearly see from the timing sheets. You know, he's set at 1:55.9. He's the only person to get into the 1:59s, or 1:55s even. But you can have that pace, but if you do not have the consistency of keeping the car on track, it's not ideal. As we can see, he's in 4th. Fly High has probably not arguably been the second quickest driver on track in terms of fastest laps, but he's kept it on the track and he's kept consistent. And Jensen, probably, he's dropping behind just a little bit every lap. You know, Jensen was very close before, and I feel like he might have activated Rich Mix to get a little bit closer to him. But, you know, it's shown. Jensen is a very quick driver, and we all know this, but if you can have that power advantage, power beats cornering every day of the week. You know, Jensen makes up a lot of time in them corners, the chicanes, but Jeremy Pope, he doesn't really mind, because in them corners he might make up the time, but he knows Jensen hasn't got the power to get up to him. Unless we see a switch of power and Jensen goes into Rich Mix and that Merc starts powering down, but you know, I don't believe that will happen. But Sandro now in 3rd, rightfully taken back his place. I think he'll be very happy with that, because 3rd place seems to be a very nice spot. Who's the commentator? It's Louie Quinlan, mate. I'm a new commentator. It's a new commentator, purely because our actual commentator is currently racing. He's in this yellow Ferrari in 9th, but I am the commentator for GT3 because Kamikaze is competing in this race, and Jensen is only 1.9 away. It's dropping a little bit every lap though. Sandro is only 4 seconds behind, and Nick is, I mean, surprisingly, Nick is not at the top, but then again, we've seen a lot of mistakes, and they cost you. They do really cost you in this. And, you know, I know myself, because I drove around the track for about an hour with SRL Sam, who's currently not here, but he does compete in this series, I believe. That, you know, if you make mistakes into the corners, there's no getting back. You just need to just get back on the power and start trying to get your laps consistently done. Fly High last lap is set at 1:55.8. That is ridiculous. Jensen is setting nice times. He's setting good times for him. He is good times, you know. But Fly High just have the edge on power, and you can really see it. Look on that straight. Look at the delta going down. Hang on. Yeah, look, that delta going up. Even if Jensen might sit in Rich Mix, I believe he might be in it now. Jeremy Pope just has so much pace. Okay, so we're seeing Reese is very below the pack. Looks like Rob Small is just about to get overtaken by the front runners. He might even assist his teammate here with Slipstream, but then again, I don't think he will, because it seems to be like he's very slow. His car looks very damaged, which is obviously not ideal. So that's a 2:12, which is very slow. So the closest battle on track right now, it is the first and second battle. I mean, Lance is not too far behind Dion, and neither is Cameron behind him in the Audi GT3. It seems to be the closest battle on track right now. I'll keep my eye on the first battle. Comes alongside Cameron, alongside, and NASCAR turn 3, right on Lance's inside. This could end in an airplane crash if they are not careful. Lance just seems to have the power on Cameron right now. Cameron just seems to be very slow, but oh my goodness, look at Funds behind him, looking very racy, very racy. It looks like he's got power, but I feel like that Ferrari overall will come on top. F1's, I mean, Kamikaze goes a little bit deep. Lance goes a little bit deep. Considering he has so much power, I'm not surprised. He was the fastest on that straight, and then comes out as being the last person on the straight because he just purely had too much time. Oh my, that was great braking by Lance. I love late braking moves. That was absolutely lovely by Lance. Makes up the position. As you can see, Reese Marsh is in the background, but he's not in this battle. He's just trying to unlap himself. Dion, 10 seconds behind Rene. Rene is 1 second behind Max. I feel like Max just made a move on Rene though. Max has been pretty good. Jeremy Pope just been flawless so far. Made no mistakes actually, and has just kept going and going and going on this first position, and it's been absolutely great to see. It's been great consistent driving. So as we see, Jensen is dropped back nearly two and a half tenths. That is crazy. Claws it back in the corners though. As you can see, look, he claws the time back. Then it's not good enough for when you get up into the straights. But Sandro is third right now. I think he'll be very happy with that. Qualifying position, started there, still there. Don't get me wrong, didn't have a very good start, but it's definitely got back where he needs to be. Max is currently lapping faster than Sandro, 1:57.1. So it's definitely on the cards for Max to actually come back and get Sandro if he keeps driving the way he's driving. And as I say that, he makes a mistake. That is a very big sign of commentator's curse, and Max does not look too happy about that, especially the way he rams that car around. Rene takes the position back off him. I'm sure Max would definitely want to get the position back. Dion is making up time to Max now. Dion, I'm quite surprised because I believe he was one of the fastest people in the Demolition Derby. I just don't think he's get all linked up here right now. Jensen has dropped back massively to Jeremy Pope. That is ridiculous. I mean, as you can see, Nick is so far in the order. I'm so surprised Nick is in 10th. Nick, at this point, Nick is not even going to score points. Season 1 champion is not going to score points. It's quite foreshadowing onto his F1 season also. It's like he's taken a break and he's gone into cruise control. So here we go. Jensen is massively behind Jeremy Pope. Now Jeremy Pope has been flawless so far. The only thing that will stop Jeremy Pope now is a mistake, and he doesn't seem to be stopping or making any mistakes. Sandro is only two seconds and 9 tenths away from these two. Rene in 4th, just currently cruising. He's doing pretty well. Don't get me wrong, he's been very quiet this race. He's not really been squabbling with many cars, but you don't have to squabble with many cars. If you just keep it consistent and keep driving, you end up actually finding yourself in good positions. Dion, I think he's losing time to Max. Nick, I do not know what's happened to Nick. I really do not know. I feel like he might have made a pit stop, but you know, he's... Yeah, no, I don't... He's gaining a lot of time on Kamikaze Fox, but he must have made a pit stop. Jeremy Pope making his dominance known. Jensen a little bit of an uncomfortable spot right now, purely because, you know, he's used to being in that top spot, and to be honest, he does battle normally in F1, but normally it's the pacier one out of the two. Sandro lost a little bit of time to Jensen now. You know, it's not been amazing for Sandro, but you know he's been doing okay. You know, he's in third place, so he's actually doing very good. But that was his qualifying position, so to be fair, you know, it's been pretty good by him so far, actually. I mean, we do have a little battle here for the last points position. Lance is only 5 tenths away from Funds. Funds would definitely want to score points here, because I feel like this is his first race GT. No, not first GT3 race, but you know, Lance goes very wide there. Reese is just kind of stuck with these guys. I don't think Reese has not had the pace. I just feel like he's been quite unlucky and just, you know, that coffee again, spill it. But alright, here we go. Funds and Lance and Cameron Weston Edwards. It's like 7th position actually. They're not too far away. They're not very close to the top, to be fair. It's not been very close, but not a close one here. That Ferrari, I feel like that Lamborghini is on the back of him, but apparently not really taking part. Nick is, I guess you can see he's got a lot of damage. Must have had a bad crash. You know, it's not ideal in GT3 either. You know, you can't get damage, you can't crash, you can't, I mean, it's just fundamentals. Now, as you can see, it's got a little bit darker now. Here we go. So, I think this is Reese unlapping himself from Kamikaze. And I'm guessing Lance will not really like that because, well, here we go. Now these are all lap cars, so it's not actually a battle going on here, it's just people on clusters of cars. Here's the real battle between Lance and Funds. And Cameron is just ahead of this battle. It's only 5 tenths behind Cameron. Funds. Dion only 1.5 tenths away, and then you have Rene cruising. Been overtaken by Max again. If Max can just keep it clean like he's been doing, he will do great. But if he doesn't, well, you know, it's going to go pretty badly. But okay, so Sandro in 3rd, sitting on 156.3. So he's actually caught up to Jensen now, a little bit more. Seems to be that Jensen is just dropping back a little bit from Jeremy Pope, but Jeremy Pope has been absolutely flawless so far. Very impressive from him. I think Jensen just wants to secure this 2nd place right now. I'm sure he'll want 1st, but you know, obviously it's going to be a little bit difficult to catch Jeremy Pope right now. Jeremy Pope is absolutely cruising. It's like he's got a robot driving that car or something. I feel like Max is really trying to pull Sandro in. Here we go, here's the battle right now. Alongside Cameron Weston, Funds on the inside of Cameron. Overtakes him very easily. So that is 7th position wrapped up by Funds. Dion has actually dropped back massively and has now gone into Funds' jaws, mate. Funds wants that position. He wants 6th position, Dion. Dion very deep into that corner. Seems like not being the best version of himself right now. Because we know Dion is actually very good in this game. He's actually normally very pacey. He's shown it in the Demolition Snowball Derby a couple of weeks back, where actually Max won the race overall, out of the 2 heats and the final. Won it quite comfortably actually, if I remember. So I'm sure he'll want to at least get a podium here. To have a podium and a win, I mean, that would be quite good for his confidence. You know, so Dion is actually getting clawed in right now by Funds. That Mercedes seems to be a lot quicker than that McLaren and the Audi behind, and Funds is really making use of that. He goes on the inside of Dion. No, not yet. No. I feel like he'll get him. Yeah, he gets him. Dion makes a little mistake. Cameron, very opportunistic, and takes that position away from Funds. Dion, oh, it's into the barriers. That is Dion is having a bit of a stinker today, isn't he? It's not been very good for him. Kamikaze takes the final position for points. So here we go. Funds on the inside of Cameron. I'm sorry, Cameron, but you might have made a great move, but Funds has taken it straight back off you. That Mercedes is just a lot quicker than that Audi in the straight right now. So it's not ideal. Max, he's actually gained a little bit of time on Sandro, just a little bit. Sandro still 1.1 behind Jensen. I don't know how much quicker Sandro is than on Jensen on that straight, but it seems like he makes quite a bit of time up there. I think we've seen it in this race. Downforce. Oh, Sandro on the inside of Jensen. Oh my god, Jensen 3rd place now. Been a bit inconsistent today. Not been great, but he is in the slipstream of Sandro, and he will want to take that position straight back off him in the Acura. Yeah, takes the position back, but I believe Sandro does have a lot more straight line speed. Might get him under braking here in that inside. He does have the inside. Goes a bit wide. Oh, that is ridiculous. That was a bit dirty, and Jensen has just absolutely been spun round, and that might be a bit bad from Sandro. I'm not going to lie, that was a bit of a reckless one. I think Sandro went a little bit off track there and just came straight back on track, and Jensen was there and just absolutely punted him off. I don't think that was a very fair move, but you know, we move. Sandro is in 2nd after that move. I might go to the stewards after the race. I know you can be a bit more argy-bargy in GT3, you know, you can do that, but you know, that was just a little bit ridiculous, considering Sandro actually went wide and just came straight back on the track, and you know, punted Jensen right in the wall. But Jensen's now in 3rd, and he's massively behind Sandro. He's just spun off as well, so you know, Jensen, mate, keep going, lad, keep going, don't worry about it, keep your chin up, son. I got it on camera, so you know, you're alright. Max is not too far behind Jensen now, so you know, Jensen's not having a very nice race here today. I'm pretty sure it's quite a frustrating one for Jensen. You know, so we're on board with Jeremy Pope. Jeremy Pope is cruising. I feel like he's going to win this race. Right now, no one has really matched his pace consistently. People have matched his pace, but not consistently. And you know, consistency wins races at the end of the day. And you know, it's just fundamentals. When you get into the race, you've got to be consistent. But Sandro seems to be catching Jeremy Pope, which is crazy. It seems like he's in a rhythm now, but I don't know about that move on Jensen. I feel like that was quite a bit dirty, and it wasn't a very nice move. it wasn't executed very cleanly, and you know, Sandra just kind of went straight into him. But the move has been done, and that is how the cherry is sitting on the cake. So, right, here we go. So there's no really close battles right now. I mean, we have Funds and Cameron. They're quite close to each other, but Funds just has Cameron every day of the week in a straight line at the moment. If Cameron doesn't get a good exit off a corner, Cameron's going to be quite far behind. Lance is not doing too bad. He is in the last points position place. So he's not doing too bad in that Ferrari. It looks a bit beat up. That Ferrari does look a bit beat up, but I'm pretty sure he'll be pretty happy with the point at least. Nick, I don't think he'll be too happy with where he is right now. I mean, compared to all the drivers in front of him, he's setting 56 fours, and everyone else in front of him is near on 2 seconds ahead. Except for really Funds, but you know, 2 seconds on their laps, and Nick really should be up here with Max, Jensen, Sandra, and Jeremy Pope. But there we go. Look, that's another indication of, you know, he does a perfectly timed pirouette. That was a nice little pirouette, but pirouettes don't win you races, unfortunately. Alright, so that top 5 is not very close at all. Closest battle on track is Cameron and Funds, but even this battle isn't that close. So, you know, it's getting to that stage, this stage in the race now where, I mean, people have kind of settled into the race, or they should have, and they're kind of getting into the groove of things. And it's quite weird because you'll find that other drivers will go quicker than the drivers that were going quicker than them before. You know, because the driver will find points as they're driving their race. And a lot of the time, I find with myself, I'm not great in qualifying, like F1. I don't smash qualifying. I can qualify 5th or 4th or 6th, but in the race, I'm very consistent. Whereas in, you know, many other drivers might be the same as me, but some drivers like Jensen, you know, he's nailed both. You know, in terms of F1, he nails the quality and nails the, you know, the actual race itself as well. This is where I find myself sometimes pegging a podium if I'm consistent, but you know, if I'm not, it's not ideal. But we ain't talking about F1 right now, we're talking about GT3, and today it's been actually quite a fun race to watch. There's been quite a couple things that have gone wrong for many drivers. In terms of Jensen is really off the pace right now. That's a 2 minute lap right there, and Max I feel like might have had a spin. Goes pretty deep into that corner. I do not know what he's doing. He's simply putting that on the power at all. I don't think he realises that Rennie is not too far behind him. Cameron overtakes Funds, but he takes him into that little chicane there. But Funds, I believe, if he gets back up about 5/10 of Cameron in the first NASCAR turn and second NASCAR turn, he'll probably take him. So this is currently the biggest battle on track right now, because a lot of the drivers up front are quite far away from each other. You know, Renee is near on 6 seconds away from Max, and Jeremy Pope is absolutely flying. It's lap 22 and he's still being consistent as ever. Someone was in the pits. See, I told you, Funds on this straight, I knew that Funds on this straight is ridiculous. The straight line speed is really proving to be the king of this right now. I mean, Cameron goes straight through the chicane, that is quite ridiculous. Misses his braking point completely. Yeah, that was a bit bad by Cameron. I think he had a run on Funds, but he just missed his braking zone. It's wet, so you know it doesn't help at all. So Lance is still cruising in 8th. Cameron is not far behind Funds. Not massive, well, 2 seconds now actually, it's quite a sizable gap. But Now, this is the time of the race where these racers need to just stay consistent, keep the foot down, you know, keep racing. I mean, Sandro has more fuel than Jeremy Pope right now. As you can see in the right, it shows you how much fuel people have used and how much fuel people have. So you can see that Jensen has 55.6 fuel, and compared to Sandro, he should realistically go quicker on his curves. Look, and he's made another mistake. And look, Jensen is a good driver. Jensen is a very, very good driver, and I know this because I've raced against him before. Not in GT3, but I've just raced against him generally. And he's just making lots and lots of mistakes, and it's just, I feel like commentator's curse. I just bet him to win, and now he's third, and he's making a lot of mistakes, and it might purely be because of the tyres and the rain and everything else, but you know, it's not been very great by Jensen in this little part of the race. He's done well in the first part to keep it consistent, but Jeremy Pope has just shown every other driver how to do it right now. As we can see, Funds has pulled a little gap to Cameron, but Cameron has clawed it back in into the corners. But you can see on the straight, Funds just makes so much time. Here we go. So Max is pulling in Jensen now, because you can see Jensen had a lot of gap on people. If he stuck with Jeremy Pope, he probably would have been, well, he would have definitely been second, but he's just got a little unstuck and a little bit frustrated, and I feel like the crash with Sandro has not helped, and he may have picked up damage from that crash, and that car might not be performing to 100% levels right now, which is not ideal for Jensen. Sandro is just a lot. He's in no man's land right now, because he's really not catching Jeremy Pope in that Porsche, and Jeremy Pope is just showing everyone how to do it. He's just cruising. He is literally having the time of his life up front right now. Not really made many mistakes. I've not really seen any mistakes, to be honest with you. And you know, he's just kept it going all race. I don't know what the Delta is doing, because Sandro gained tons of time on him apparently, but I don't think that's true. Yeah, there you go, the Delta is more sensible now. But Max has been doing well, to be fair. He's picked up a lot of position from where he started, I believe. So it has been a pretty decent race for him. Dion, I think he'll be quite disappointed where he is right now, because he is consistently, I know him consistently, like he do pretty well. You know, when he's driving at full power and full focus, you know, but he's not doing very well here, and you can see that Jensen is just behind him, and he's in third, and Jensen hasn't had the greatest of races right now. You've seen how many times he's spanned, so you can imagine how many times Dion's spanned. So guys, this battle we've got on track right now is Cameron and Funds, but it's not very close at all. You know, Cameron is still 2.5 seconds behind, and we are nearly at 1 hour 30 of the race time and the time remaining. I think these drivers need to bear in mind their fuel. I think a lot of drivers, I mean, Dion, I think we know why Dion isn't racing very quickly. I mean, the guy's got 113 gallons of fuel. Like, bro, that's going to kill his timings. And he's doing really good laps. Look, last lap, 156.6. That is not a bad lap. And he has 113 gallons of fuel. He is a quick driver. He is quick. He's shown to be quick. But I don't know why he's got so much fuel in the tank. That is absolutely ridiculous. Funds goes wide. You see that there. Cameron will definitely gain a little bit of time on him there. Rene, I mean, Rene has been doing pretty well, to be fair. I've not seen him in battles, and I've not really seen him. Oh, and as I say, he's doing very well. He just nearly spins, and that will definitely open the door up for fans to gain a little bit of time on him. So you see this battle right here. They're probably going to catch Rene if he makes any more mistakes like that. Every time I switch onto a driver and start talking about them, they start slipping and they make a mistake. And I mean, that's just racing. This is really showing who will win races when it gets tough. You know, the endurance of just constantly doing laps and laps and laps and laps. You know, keeping it consistent. Because if you can't keep it consistent and have the endurance to do that, you know, you're going to make mistakes like Jensen has been doing and Max has been doing sometimes. You know, even Rene with that one mistake, you know, one mistake can cost you a good fortune of time, you know, and you don't really want to do that. You really, really want to keep it on track. But, I mean, Jeremy Pope is a good example of that. He's not, you know, he's not been 155 level sort of thing, you know. He might have got a 155 here and there because he's been smashing it. Look at 155.3, and that probably was in the first couple of laps. But, you know, he's been keeping it consistent. Even if he's had a couple bad laps, you know, he just keeps going, and it's been very impressive. You know, Jensen, I don't know what's happened to Jensen, because don't get me wrong, he's been kind of quick, but like there's been times where you're watching him race and he's not been all there and abouts, you know. And you get people like Max on the back of him who's going to collect the pieces. If Jensen makes one more mistake, you know, he's in Max's range of being overtaken, you know. And even Rene, you know, Rene would be on the right back of him, because if Max overtakes him, Rene's right there to collect the pieces as well. And then Jensen could be 6th or 7th, you know, just by one mistake. Sandro has been doing well this race. I've been very impressed, actually. I mean, apart from a scrappy move on Jensen, which was a bit argy-bargy, I've actually been very impressed. He's been very consistent. He's only made a couple mistakes, but they haven't been major. He has corrected them quite nicely. And he has not really been dropped off by Jeremy Pope. He's not really had a chance to battle him. But, you know, even though he's not had the chance to battle him, he's still kind of just been sticking in range of Jeremy Pope, and it's quite impressive. I don't know what the Delta is doing right now and if he's gaining that much time, but if you look on the straight, he has gained so much time on Jeremy Pope. Sandro could win this if Jeremy Pope makes one mistake, right? Because one mistake can really, really change the race, especially if one mistake causes a pile of cars. So here we go. So Max and Rene are kind of similar on pace right now. Everyone in the top 3 is set 56s. Jensen with the 56.6. So Jensen, you can tell Jensen has got the pace, but he's really just not consistently had it. Which I don't blame him, because you know it's quite hard to race in these conditions. Here we go. His fun's been overtaken by Reese. I think Reese is just unlapping himself, to be honest. Reese is very, very far behind, and honestly, I think that coffee's just got to his head, and he's just having a good time. Nick, he's just giving the lawn a mow, you know, like he's just cutting the grass for the caretakers. Yep. Well, Nick, I think is well and truly out of the running for this race now. I mean, if stuff like that's going to happen, I mean, the guy's nearly, 2 minutes 38 behind, which is quite nuts considering he is the season 1 champion. You know, Nick isn't having a valiant charge to defend his championship. Sandro sets up 155.9. I believe that might be the fastest lap of the race for him. Yep, his last lap, fastest lap for him. Max does have the pace, he just needs to get up, and I feel like if he keeps making mistakes, he will not be in the running for the podium, because as you can see, Max does have the pace, but look at that. Last lap he had a 2 minute 15 because he makes a mistake, and then he's right in jaws of funds. But we are not complaining, because this means we can get more battles on track, and that is exactly what we want, you know. This is what's really hard about these long GT races and long races just in general, because a lot of the time the drivers can be very, very, well, really far behind each other, and then it creates quite a hard race to like commentate, which is no problem, because I can talk for ages and ages, and make new topics up. But, you know, as you can see, Dion has the pace, he really does, but, you know, you can have the pace, but if you're going to spin out another time, all that time that you've just gained is literally void. Nick, I don't know what he's doing, really just not been on it today. I think he throws it away for himself today, because, you know, he did have decent pace, but he's just, you know, this is the difference. This is why GT3 is quite interesting, because everyone can make mistakes. Even Fly High, right? Jeremy Pope, he can make a mistake. If he makes a mistake, he goes down the order, and it loses tons of time, and it takes quite a lot of time to get back into rhythm as well. But it just shows, it really does show that you need to have that mental endurance, and, you know, not even just for racing, you need mental endurance for commentating as well. You give some credit to myself as well, but, you know, these guys are driving, and driving is quite an intense thing, especially in a long setting like this. I mean, you can get really tired in terms of just looking at a screen. But our closest battle at the moment, well, not really battle, but closest two cars of Max and Funds, but I feel like Max has the pace over these guys quite easily. I think he just lets Reese through now, just so Reese can catch on the back of Nick. I mean, Nick it's been quite ridiculous from Nick today, actually. I mean, it just, every time I switch onto him, he's in the grass or he's around 360s, you know, like, it's not a very defensive champion, you know. Jensen, I think he's made more mistakes than most. Every time I've been on him, he's kind of made a mistake here and there. It's been quite hard to race though, because, you know, you got to give him credit, because these people are driving in these conditions in a long track setting, and also they are, you know, given their all 100% of the time, and, you know, that's only going to lead to mistakes and, you know, bad driving. But Sandro, look, Sandro with the 155.4, which, you know, Jeremy Pope, you know, he's been doing absolutely amazing. 155.9, he must think, oh, that's a great lap for me. But, you know, Sandro with the 155.4, but, you know, it hasn't made a difference. Fly High is still near on 17 seconds ahead, and, you know, hold on, the delta's going down. Delta in this game is very frustrating. Sandro isn't too far behind. He's not. I mean, the gap a couple laps ago was 16 seconds, so he has only knocked the gap down a little bit. But he has to be consistent, such as, you know, Jeremy Pope. He's still on his heels, because Sandro's been doing well. Jensen sets a 155.8. I mean, don't get me wrong, that is a very good time. Might a little battle here. I like Funds' car. It's got sponsored Hot Wheels, and it looks very good. I like it. A little bit different. I like Rene's car as well. It's quite a nice colour scheme. But what's that, Nick? Yeah, Nick is overtaking Reese. So this is actually battle for 10th and 11th. 10th and 11th. This is what it's come to, guys. 10th and 11th battle. These two cars here are battling each other. The Ferrari, the Lamborghini and the Audi. It's quite funny, because these are the only two real cars battling on track. and it's going to provide us with some entertainment for not even points finish, just pure racing. Who cares about the positions here now? So here we go, nice by Reese, moves on the inside of that chicane. The bus stop even does well there. It was very good move by Reese. To be fair, Nick is gone from second to Stone Cold last. Quite disappointing actually. Lance seems to be running on fumes. He's only on 29.2, and as I go on to him, he makes a mistake. He is in the last points position, so he will not want to make mistakes. He'll at least get a point on the board. Cameron is so far away from funds now. So here we go. Max is only under a second from Rene. Yet again, Max seems to be getting really loose in that corner. I feel like that's where he keeps losing his time. He gets really loose in that corner, and then also, you know, Nick is not making it very easy for him at all. But Max, oh look, Max, oh, loses the back end, and it's just Funds will take the position away from him. Max just lost the car again. He just keeps losing it. It's like that rear just doesn't want to keep on the ground, and it just goes. And to be honest, Max has gone from fourth and nearing Jensen to just being really far away because of mistakes. Jensen makes a mistake there. Goes straight through the cones. Actually gains time, so it might be a penalty. Rene is back in fourth and has the buffer of nearly 5 seconds on the car behind. Jensen a little bit just in front. I mean, Jensen has been quite a mediocre race, you could say. Gone bad to bad for him, but he still keeps going, which is good because it just shows his mental endurance of keep on going, and even though you do make mistakes, you can keep going. So Max is just behind Funds. I believe Max is quite quicker than Funds, but you know, we've got to see it first. We've got to see the overtake. We'll see the onboard. So as you see, like Max having that mistake just keeps hindering him, you know. And look, that is, I believe that is just that is just summed up Max's race today. To be honest, it really has. It's quite a shame actually, because he has got a lot of pace, but you know, his consistency of keeping the car on the track has just not been there. And at the end of the day, you really do need that. Don't get me wrong, he is still in the points, but you know, if he keeps dropping and he keeps losing the car, I mean, Kamikaze not too far behind, you know, and neither's Cameron. So one more spin, and you know, he's just about taking 1 point away from this, and it's not really ideal for him. See, Funds, he's actually doing very well. He's in 5th. This is very good for him, to be fair, because if Rene makes a mistake, I believe Funds will definitely capitalise on it. And I think he'll be very happy with 4th. If Funds does get 4th in this race, I think he'll be very happy with it. One person I'm quite disappointed to see so far down the order is Nick. You know, I had high expectations for him. You know, I think we've lost a driver as well, because you know, they might have just rage quit. I feel like that's Rob Small in the other Porsche, whereas his teammate Jeremy Pope has been absolutely smashing the hammer down and extending the gap to Sandro. Gap from we last saw it was 15 seconds, and now it's 21. That is crazy. As we can see, Rene is actually extending the gap to Funds now. I don't know what happened to Funds. So as you can see, Max is actually gaining time on Funds, right? And it's impressive, but he just keeps losing the rear on, I don't know, a puddle or a patch of grass, because that car does seem very stable, and then in 1 or 2 seconds that car is already around and gone. Oh, Azura Funds is around, and he gets overtaken by Max. So there you go, look, another mistake, and it's really started to show now. We're seeing a lot more mistakes deeper into this race. You know, a lot of people are just making tons and tons of mistakes, because I mean, long races you tend to lose focus as the race goes on. But it's quite interesting to see the people who have been very consistent. You know, Sandro has been very consistent since that first start of the race. Jeremy Pope has been, you know, this has been a great performance by him. A very, very good performance, and you know, he should be very happy with himself. I definitely would be if I was in his position. First position, 20 seconds ahead of the pack, ahead of Sandro even, and then even more. You know, he's nearly a minute and 12 seconds ahead of Jensen, who is a very good driver, but it just seems to not have put it together today. Seems to be struggling a little bit. The thing is though, with Dion, I'm thinking, because people need to make pit stops, right? And Dion has so much more fuel left, he could go to the end of the race if he is saving. Which I don't think he's doing. I think he might be doing that. Where he doesn't really need to put much fuel at the end if he does run out of fuel, but you know. A lot of these cars though, they are not very high on fuel. I mean, the Funds has been draining that rich mix. You can tell, mate. He's below 20 on gallons of fuel. He's been draining that rich mix, and you know, look at that. Max just overtakes him into that corner. Good overtake by Max, but also a bad mistake by Funds. But Funds is right on the back of Max, because that Mercedes is drinking the fuel. As you can see, look at that, 19. It's now 19. It was 19.5. And he's definitely got that in rich mix. He's definitely cruising. I think people really do need to bear in mind their fuel. You know, 18.6 of fuel compared to Max's 23. You know, Max could go off for a little bit more. I mean, Rene, he has a lot of fuel left. Jensen, not much, 21 gallons. Sandro is 27, and Jeremy is 27 also. So Jeremy is yet to, you know, even really think about anything, to be honest. And he's not really been in battles. He's not really had to deal with any cars on track. It's been quite nice for him, actually. Funds is just re-overtaken Max, because Max just has no straight line speed compared to that car. But Max, I feel, will get him into the corners. Cameron, not too far behind. It's only 2 seconds behind. Kamikaze Fox still chilling, just in 8th place there. You know, final points position for him. I think, you know, he's been consistent. He's been consistently staying on track, to be fair. Every time I switched onto him, he's not been doing too bad. But so Max overtakes Funds. I don't know if there was a little collision there, but you know, Cameron is now on the back of him though. That, you know, he's just on the back, and they go into that corner. Cameron gets a nice little exit, but Funds does not. But Funds does have the pace advantage in terms of speed on the straight. Nice little corner for these two there. And this is where I feel like he's going to start flexing the Mercedes. It taps the wall there. I mean, I think that just shows you the concentration of, you know, drivers now. They're just tapping the walls, which is totally unneeded because there is a lot of room on the track. So that is that first NASCAR turn 1 and 2 there. Straight into the bus stop chicane. Come out of the bus stop chicane. Straight into NASCAR turn 3. I think Max has clawed his way back up to 5th, but he will want that 4th position from Rene. And I'm sure he'll want that position off Jensen, but Jensen's actually been pretty decent for the last couple of laps. Don't get me wrong, all the mistakes he's had prior and previously have actually, you know, I think kind of ruined his race in terms of winning it. But a podium is still in sight. The podium that he gets now is still in sight. If he just keeps racing his race and doing what he's doing. Oh, and as I say that, he just makes a mistake. And I feel like that's just been a reoccurrence for Jensen. It's just the same corner as well. It's quite annoying for him. Oh, wow! Rene, right off the track. Wow. Wow. Where's Rene gone? Oh, wow. I think he saved that one, but that was quite a bad mistake by Rene. You can't really see with trackside camera. Once they go off the track, I can't see. So as you can see, Cameron Weston Edwards, behind Funds, not too far behind Max, and then Max is 12 seconds away from Rene. I think Max has the pace on Rene, but Rene has just had the consistency to keep the car on the track, which is not easy. I know it's not easy, and this is why, to be honest, even though I keep saying it, it is not easy. I want to remind people that it is not easy to keep the car on track sometimes. Like, look at that. Fly high. Jeremy Pope, fastest lap of the race, a 54.9. If that's not flexing your muscles, I don't know what is. Okay? This guy's just gone, do you know what? Lap 37, screw it. Older tyres, you know, screw it. I'll just set the fastest lap, you know. And then he just sets a 55 just dead on just because he can. Because that's ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. The only thing, right, it just makes a very, very, like, hard racing, in terms of, you know, endurance for these races. Because the thing is, Jeremy Pope could do really well now, right? And then out of nowhere, right, in the last hour, Jeremy Pope could make the most mistakes out of everyone and go down the order very easily. And this is what GT3 kind of represents, you know, especially these long races, you know. But it has been a pretty good race so far. We have had, even though the pack is very spread out, we have had very high amounts of carnage, to be fair. And to be fair, we have had some nice overtakes in the first couple of laps, and we have had some nice overtakes from them. Max is kind of pulling away from Funds. Cameron getting pulled away from Funds, and Lance is just a little bit in no man's land right now. Lance has to get a move on though, because Dion seems like he's catching very much, and you know, if he doesn't get a move on, well, it could be a very, very bad thing for Lance, because he will lose that final points position, and I bet he does not want to lose that. He is on 10.8 gallons of fuel, which he will need to redo. It's getting very, very dark, as you can see. That is the trackside camera right now, and look how dark it is. Look, that side of the track is pretty much in darkness. That is ridiculous. You can hardly see anything. Look, that is ridiculous. Look how hot. Look, that it's very dark, and this is the conditions that the drivers are now running in. It makes it a little bit harder for me because you can't really see the cars. You can only see the headlights. And if it starts raining again, like it seems like it's doing now, it gets a little bit difficult. So, right now, we're going to see the people. So, 8 gallons of fuel for Jeremy Pope. We got 16 gallons of fuel for Sandro. My head's gone. Jensen's got 10. Rene has got quite a bit more than them. They got 24 gallons, maybe 25. Max 12. Funds 7. He's probably got the lowest amount of fuel on track right now. Lance and Dion is cruising. People at the back have, funny enough, the people at the back had the most fuel. I don't think Dion could take his car to the end with that much fuel though. It could be surprised though, could be. But Funds will definitely need to be careful and take his car into the pits soon, because that car is running out of petrol massively. So, well, I was about to say as you can see, but you can't really see anything. With this race, you can see that I feel like Max, if he irons out his mistakes, he will be definitely up there. Funds, he's very close to a pit stop, which could really open the door for Cameron, to be fair, because he still has quite a bit of fuel left. Lance does not have much fuel left. To be honest, this could really open a door for Dion. Everyone who pits in front of Dion, I think Funds, Cameron and Lance, if they pit, it opens the door up for Dion in 9th, and you know, even though these guys will be on newer tyres, I believe, it'll be a lot better for them. After like the last stint of the race, but Dion will be pretty much there. I think even Max might even get caught, you know. I can't see Jensen, but we know he's there. We can see his headlights. He's on the back straight. That back straight is pitch black right now. Jensen is in the pits. Jensen is in the pits. So we have our first pitting car. As you can see, that car right there is Rob Smalls. It looks like he's given up. So Jensen is now coming out of the pits. Oh, and he spins. Oh my god. See, that's ridiculous. There's a little spin for Jensen. He gets overtaken by Rene. I feel like he's going to get overtaken by Max. But these guys are still yet to pit. But that mistake really will not help Jensen at all. As you can see, Funds is in the pits. Dion, oh no, Dion definitely won't. Here we go, changing the tyres there. Refueling the car. Yep, Dion will, yeah, definitely overtake Funds. But Kamikaze is still yet to pit. Cameron is still yet to pit. Max is still yet to pit. So there's a lot of positions up for grabs. Still under pitting. Reese, I think he's just unlapped himself. I don't know what Funds. That is a very long pit stop. He's fueled his car up massively. How much fuel does Jensen? I don't know if Jensen actually pitted. I think he had a drive-through because he still has like no fuel in his car, and he Funds is fueled up and ready to go, new tyres and everything, but he's been sitting in the pits for a very long time. Everyone else will be sitting in the pits. This is where Dion will make up quite a bit of time compared to everyone, because if they're spending that much time in the pits, Dion might be third here. You never know. Like, that was ridiculous. I mean, if Dion really does save his fuel, he needs to go into lean pretty much. So Funds is 37 seconds behind Dion Star, and that is a sizable gap considering all things. Because Dion is not a bad driver, especially if he keeps it consistent. Kamikaze, I mean, it just shows Kamikaze is still yet to pit, and he looks like he's about to get overtaken by Dion. Jensen is now in the pits, finally. He's dropped down massively. Here we go, he's just refueling his car now. He's still not out of the pits yet, and as you can see, Dion overtakes him. Kamikaze comes into the pits. Kamikaze is definitely going to lose a lot of positions. Jensen is really low down in the order now, especially Funds is coming around the last bit, just last turn. NASCAR turn 3. And NASCAR turn 4. He'll be coming into that. Jensen is now out of the pits. Kamikaze still in the pits. So Jensen has a lot of work to do. Safe to say Jensen has a lot of work to do. Especially with everyone who needs to pit. But he will make up the positions due to the people needing to pit. Takes it nice and slow coming out of there because he knows. I mean, that just shows you, doesn't it? Fly high. Look at that. Jensen is just in front of Jeremy Pope, and I think that kind of just shows you how fast Jeremy Pope actually is, because he's made Jensen look like a bit embarrassed there, because Jensen's qualified first, and now it just shows the consistency. It really does. Max is in the pits. Kamikaze's still in the pits. He's probably a lap down. Yeah, just stay off the grass there, because the grass is cursing. So Max and Cameron are in the pits. Max will get out the pits first, but yeah, Max will come out of the pits first. You know, as you can see, his car is virtually nearly fueled up there. Cameron still a little bit behind, but it looks like they actually might come out close. There's currently no battles on. Yeah, Max comes out first, then Cameron might come out just a little bit after. It's not too far behind Max, to be fair. Max is already gone. Rene still yet to stop, and so is Sandro, and so is Jeremy Pope. So Jeremy Pope is still yet to stop. Most people have made their stops now, Jensen including. He's in P6, so he's still in the points, but you definitely want to be in the podium positions. But he's behind Max. Funny enough, he's behind Max, and Max is not a slouch in terms of his pace, but he does make quite a couple mistakes. But Dion is cruising right now. It's still got 60 gallons of fuel in the tank. I believe he's trying to take this till the end. It'll be stupid to try and not take it to the end. Even if he does try and take it to the end, he can just leave it and only put a little bit of fuel in there. It kind of gives him a little bit of an advantage. So Sandro is into the pits. Rene is still on track, I believe. Yeah, Rene is still on track. Alright, Sandro's going to be waiting in the pits for a little bit. So that'll give Dion the opportunity, I believe, to not overtake him yet, because I think everyone's quite a lap down. So Sandro is in a good position, to be fair, because everyone who is behind him was massively behind him. Jeremy Pope is still out, but I believe he'll probably be pitting in the next couple of laps. You know, he's still setting really good laps though. 156.1, not too shabby at all. Dion is in the little section, the only bit of cornering really in this race. It's quite funny actually. It's quite virtually an oval with a little bit of track, but it's very interesting to see the sort of racing that happens, because it's power and then a little bit of cornering, so you can't completely have no downforce and just, you know, just go out there and go, oh yeah, I'm going to be fast in the straights, because, you know, you have to have that little bit of downforce just for the little bit of cornering that goes on. Sandro is now coming out of the pits. Rene is now going. I think that just shows you how far behind everyone is. Rene is just going into the pits, and Rene was third. Okay, so that shows you how far away everyone was. Maybe Jeremy Pope might be staying out for another lap. This might be his last lap. So Sandro is fueled up and ready to go. He will go to the end of the race. Rene will go to the end of the race. Dion is just coming around now. I don't know if he'll be able to take that much fuel to the end of the race, but he will have a shorter pit stop compared to everyone else. Which will be interesting to see at the end of the race. Dion is now third. Rene is still in the pits. Max is literally at NASCAR turn 3. And then he will be at NASCAR turn 4. You can't actually see him on the turn, but you can see his headlights. He would definitely want him to be take that off Rene, but this is going to be very close, because Rene is still in the pits and still has to follow the pit rules, speed rules, and he can't rush it too much out of the pits either, because you've seen that you can actually spin. So Max takes fourth off him, but he's still yet to get round that first corner. Jensen, he's just in front of Rene, which is great, because it means good racing for us. Not that you lot can very much see it, because, you know, this is pretty much shambles, but in terms of lighting, can't see much. But as you can see, Max has actually got out in a nice bit of clean air, to be honest, and you know, he could just get on with his race, but he does have Jensen behind him. Also, quite interesting to see Dion third. He might be fuel saving. Max and Jensen and Rene all making their stops. Cameron's made his stop also. Not too far behind Rene, but, you know, 15 seconds to make up is quite sizable. Reese now finds himself in P8. You know, from P11 it's not too bad, but he's still yet to make a pit stop, and, you know, he will probably be stone cold last once he's made his pit stop. Even though it's been quite valiant to see him try and get up, I don't think he will. Jensen making a mistake there, as you can see, runs off very wide and now is under pressure. Now I can actually show you. Sorry, it's very dark, so I'm going to have to switch between this. You can't see it so far, so That's what you would normally see if I wasn't showing you that. So I'm gonna have to show you this camera angle. Jensen is right behind. There we go. We can go trackside now, so actually you can see. Max not actually pulling away very much, to be honest. Jensen is just behind Rene. Rene doing very well actually to keep Jensen behind. Max is cruising. Dion is also cruising very nicely. Jeremy Pope has made his pit stop. I don't think I really need to commentate on Jeremy Pope at the moment, because he's just been having a stellar race. He's made everyone else look really slow. He's made everyone else look very average, and he's had a stellar race so far and no mistakes at all, which is quite impressive. But back on the track with Jensen Randall and Rene van der Stapp. This is going to be quite an intriguing battle actually, because I feel like Rene's actually, as I've said before, I think he's actually got suited to the track now, and he's actually going a bit faster than he did before, which tends to happen with most drivers when they get adapted to that track. Max is losing time to Rene. You can't really see much at all. It's quite frustrating. Nick is still in the pits. Nick is very much not even in this race anymore. I mean, he's 8 minutes. 8 minutes, not 8 seconds, 8 minutes. So Rene span out. Rene is spanned, and Jensen took the position away from him. Sorry about that. I was just sorting things up and out. So Jensen has taken that position away from him. Rene making a mistake proves quite critical, because he loses position from Jensen, and that lets Jensen get on the back of Max. He's still 4.5 seconds behind Max, so Max has got back into this race nicely, from losing all those positions, being in, you know, pretty much 8th and 7th, so coming back up to 4th where he was at the start of the race, which is very impressive, and he should be very proud of himself for sticking it out and keep going. I think that's what most drivers need to learn, is that they just need to keep being consistent and keep their head, because if they don't, you know, it just leads to more mistakes and losing positions, which is not ideal. So Rene is losing time, I believe, to Cameron. Max is losing time to Jensen. Now everyone is going a lot faster now, because you can see everyone at the start of the race was really not hitting 55s at all. And now they're doing it very easily. So Sandro with a 55.7, Dion with a 55.1, Max with a 55.3, and Jensen with a 55.2. So you can see a lot of people are getting a lot more adapted to the track, and a lot more, the knowledge of braking zones is actually there and abouts. And even Rene with the 55 dead on, you know, you can see he's done very well there. I believe he's just gone into the pits. I don't know what's happened to Rene. Might be fitting new tyres. I don't know if anyone's on them. because it's been a bit weird today, you know, with the rain. So slicks haven't been really not an ideal choice, but you know, it stopped raining for a bit and it started raining again. So a lot of the drivers probably shaping up their strategies to fit the race. So Jeremy Pope very much ahead of everyone. Been quite ridiculous, you know, just cruising out there. Sandro in second place. I think he'll be very happy with that. I mean, I feel like that's best of the ref right now. I mean, I think Jeremy Pope has been quite untouchable with this race. As long as he keeps it on the track, you know, he'll pretty much. I think he will win this race. But there is still a lot of racing to do, and you know, Sandro still seems like he's got a lot of pace in that car. Dion, very impressively, he doesn't really need to pit yet. He still has a lot of fuel left, and I feel like he might go into the half an hour point and have still enough fuel to go on. But I think Dion's been doing very well. It's very impressive. I feel like Max made a mistake, so Jensen's just overtaken him quite easily. And you know, Jensen will want that podium. I believe he'll want that podium. A bit more of a recovery for him in this race as well, because I mean, being in first to being down in virtually what 7th at one point or 8th in one point, you know, wasn't ideal for Jensen, but it's been a lot better for him now. I think he'll be quite happy with what he's got. Dion is still lapping very quickly though. Jensen sets a 1:54.9. So overall, Jensen, I believe, is the quickest right now, which is very good for him. But he hasn't set the fastest lap. I think the fastest lap right now has been set by Dion Stoll, and I feel like Dion Stoll is still yet to make a pit stop out of all the cars. Nick Yoda has a 20-second penalty. That is crazy. So Jensen is only 32 seconds behind Dion, and Sandro is 41 behind Jeremy Pope. Kamikaze, he's lost his position. Max is in the pits. He might be. I don't know what Max is doing. Might be changing tyre. Yeah, I think people are changing tyres now. Quite interestingly, I don't know what tyres they are on, because this game doesn't. I don't think it really shows what tyres everyone's on, which is quite frustrating. Oh. But as you can see, he changes his tyres, probably to fit the track. It's a bit wet right now, and you can't really see the tyre strip that well because it's quite dark. So we find ourselves with Jensen in 4th, Cameron actually in 5th, which is really good for Cameron because he was actually 9th at one point. So he finds himself in a better position. Dion set in a 1:54.6, and especially on those old, I'm guessing harder tyres, harder slicks, he's doing very well. So Fonz, he's doing pretty well, to be fair to him. He's still in the points. Max still in the points. Cameron doing a lot better than he did at the start of the race. Jensen is still making up time. Does a 1:54.3, which is a lot better than 4. But Jeremy Pope still pretty much showing up everyone and telling them how to do it with the 1:54.2 and keeping the consistency there too. I feel like that Porsche is a very, very good car to drive, making everyone else look amateur with the 41-second lead. So, closest battle on track right now, I believe, is this. Is it this? Oh, the timings are a bit wrong. Well, the timings are a bit screwed. It says they're close, but they're not actually that close. They are close, but not as close as the timings suggest. So Reese is not stone cold last anymore. Nick is. Not surprisingly, he was 7 minutes behind, nearly 8 minutes, and doing that. So we're gonna just say there's 10 runners now, because Nick is pretty much just done. I think Reese is pretty far behind, but at least he's tried to get back into this race. Dion is still lapping very nicely. And don't get me wrong, it'll be really hard for him to catch up to Sandro at this point, unless Sandro makes a mistake, which I doubt he will, because he's been very good so far. Jensen, 4th place. I mean, Dion is still yet to make a pit stop, you know. He's still yet to, you know, actually sit in the pits for a bit, and I feel like Jensen will get the 3rd place. But you never know, because the fuel could be really good. He could have really good fuel saving on these last couple of laps last bit of time. So Jensen is quite far away from Dion. That's Nick Van Gelder, I believe. So I think the closest battle right now is here. Yeah. So these are the closest battle right now. Well, I say battle, it's the closest train at least, with everything that's going on. Cameron's doing pretty well in 5th still. Not made any mistakes. Jensen still, well, very much flexing on everyone now, dipping into the 153.7. Wow, 153s, the high 53s, which is very impressive. I think that's the fastest lap of the race so far. Yeah, Rene with a 53.9, but Jensen with the 53.7, you know. And that is the time that you kind of need to go at. You know, if you really want to cut into time and lose people, you know, 53.7s, I mean, that is what you need. And Jensen is providing that right now. And he is cutting the gap down to Dion, which is a must for him, because Dion still is yet to pit, but it will be not a full pit. But to be honest, Dion is only 1 minute and 16 seconds away from Jeremy Pope, and the next car, if he obviously Dion will still be in the points, I believe. I think he will come in and filter in between Max and Cameron, maybe Max and Funds, but he will still be in the points. And considering Dion was 9th at one point, I don't think he would be too frustrated with that. But have we seen, Max does make a lot of mistakes. I feel like Max would be a lot higher in this race right now if he didn't make so many mistakes. Personally, it's just been a bit too many mistakes for my liking. And you know, you've seen it on the live stream. You know, it just shows that Jensen is going really slow. I don't know what's going on. Jensen is going into the pits. I feel like he had so much damage. I think he's changing tyres. It's getting a bit more wet now. And he's fueling up. So this gives Cameron the opportunity to overtake Jensen. Which is a first for this race, because Cameron has not yet overtook Jensen in this race. Yeah, so that's Jensen overtaken by Max, but Cameron, and then Max, I think. Yeah, he's overtaken by Max, Funds. Wow, that's quite mad, because Jensen's gonna have to work his way now through many cars, and Cameron finds himself in P4. I don't know why he's pitting. I don't know why Jensen has pit there. He might have had, I mean, his car didn't even have a wing or anything, so he might have had insane amounts of damage, but I don't think it's been a very good race for Jensen today. Not the best one at all. So Kamikaze has also overtaken Jensen. So Jensen finds himself in the last points position. So from first and scoring the most points you can possibly score, he finds himself dead last, pretty much. But I feel like he will overtake Kamikaze pretty easily. But I really don't know why he pit. And I feel like he might have had a lot of damage, so that would probably be the reason why. But the rain is really picking up now, to be fair. So, to be fair, Dion does find himself in a really good position, because he does have a lot of time between him and the next driver. So he would still be in a nice points position. On board with Jensen, currently behind Kamikaze Fox. Which is also known as Lance. It goes very wide, cuts the bus stop chicane massively. So Jensen is very much having a bad race right now. It just has to be said. Dion having a better race. I think he's doing a lot better now than he was earlier, previously. Also, we find ourselves not really having many battles again, which is not ideal. Obviously, we want to see battles, but Kamikaze Fox is still in front of Jensen. And Kamikaze Fox has still had his pit, like his pit and everything, so he's good to go for the rest of this race. Jensen, there's no other people pitting, so Jensen has to make up these positions. Nick off the track there, you can see Nick's just been away with the fairies this whole race. You know, he ain't been there at all. He's literally been a spectator like I have. He's just on track. Cameron doing well in fourth still, but Funds is catching on the straights. Dion Star is also a minute and 7 seconds away from the next driver, and there's only 34 seconds away from Sandro. Well, I say only, that is a sizable gap, but you know, I've seen stranger things happen on races. See Sandro doing very well in that Acura, Aqua. which is really good. It's good to see. A good start to his campaign in GT3, getting them good points. Dion also doing pretty well. You know, he still has to make a pit stop because he is not going to make it to the end of the race, I don't think. But you know, he is setting good lap times. 54.6 is a good lap time. Jensen set a 53.9. So that's a pretty good lap time for Jensen. But keeping it on track has been a problem for Jensen, I think, this whole race. So I believe that is Dion and Kamikaze battling, but not battling for track position as much because, well, Kamikaze is way behind Dion, but it does make the overtake stick. And the thing is, you can be as fast as someone. No, you can be slower than someone, but if you put your car in the way and just literally put them off stride, you can really make them lose their time. So here we go. Max is just behind this battle, but Cameron and Funds are battling for P4, and I feel like Funds might have this on him because, you know, that Mercedes so far has proved that it is a lot quicker than that Audi, as you can see. And now it's getting really wet, and that is not fun, especially for drivers who have been losing it anyway. Like Max needs to be careful because, you know, he might lose the car again. So that's a car around. I don't know what car that is. So that was Nick. Nick, mate, what are you doing? So we got Funds in P4. Yes, overtakes Cameron for P4. That Merc is really, really fit into his driving style right now, as you can see. Dion showing what he's made of in P3. Cameron Weston Edwards actually gets past Funds again. I really think Funds is finding it difficult making the move stick in the corners, whereas when it gets to the straights he really does make up the time, and I think that just shows you the skill gap of the drivers. It shows like one person could be running a lot of downforce and it helps them a lot more in the corners, and then one person could be running a lot on the straights, and then, you know, the person in front just gets absolutely taken like for a ride. Because as you can see, watch, Cameron is about 4 tenths ahead of Funds, right? And you'll just see now, just barely, that pace advantage that Funds has on Cameron is absolutely ridiculous. Cameron is really making it difficult for Funds to get past, keeps moving on the inside, making it difficult. So Funds makes the move again, which is good for him. Max is not too far behind this battle, so we could have Max joining in on this battle. A little bit difficult for all the drivers to actually get in line with each other. Jensen is catching up to Bax, but he's still very far behind in 7th. Jeremy Pope, just thought I'd check in on him. Doing very well, no surprises there. Sandro, Dion is in pits. So this is where it counts. This is what, because I don't feel like Dion has to really fuel his car massively. So everyone's still, yeah. So this is going to be massive for Dion. Dion has fueled up the car. So the next car to Dion is Funds, and Funds is on the opposite side of the track, and Dion is out of the pits. So Dion, out of a really bad start, has really made a really good comeback, and I'm really proud of the driving from Dion, because he was very far behind at one point in this race, and now he has had the chance to put on new tyres and get in front of these people like Funds and Cameron. So I believe that's Nick Van Gelder overtaking Cameron. Cameron gives him a shunt. Nick is around, but then again, Nick is just not even racing, and he's pretty much in the way at this point. So Cameron Weston Edwards getting a little bit held up by Nick Van Gelder there. This is getting pretty interesting. This could be a pretty interesting couple of laps here, because you can see Jensen's catching up, Max is catching up, Cameron catches up to Funds quite a lot in the corners, and Funds just doesn't make up the time in the straights enough. So it could be quite interesting to see 4 cars battling. I feel like the top 3 is sealed at this point, because Dion is very much ahead and is on new tyres, more fuel. Sandro is massively ahead, so the 1 and 2 is pretty much sealed at this point. Dion could make a mistake. It's very possible that Dion makes a mistake and lets Funds, Cameron, Mac and Jensen into this. Jensen, he just needs to keep the laps going and keep consistent, because he is catching these cars in front. Funds actually had a lap of a 1:54.3, which is very impressive compared to the other cars. It's actually just a little slower than Jensen, but they are in the same car, of course, so the performance is all there. I don't know if you can hear the sound of these cars, but it's beautiful. So Max is now 1 second behind, with Nick just behind him, but I don't think Nick is really in this race right now. He's literally in no man's land. The Max is just 1 second behind. Jensen is a little bit off the track, loses a bit of time there, has a little bit of a wobble, but there you go. Sums up Jensen's race so far, to be fair. So we'll have a battle for P5 right now. All Audis, so there's no excuse. Everyone's in the same car. Max is in the dark black one, and then Cameron is in the I don't even know, the blue, white, and red one. I know who's quicker on the straights. Max seems to be quicker on the straights. I don't know what Nick is doing. Nick is being quite a nuisance right now, to be fair. I mean, Max makes a little bit of a mistake. Goes through the chicane. I feel like he got a bit spooked out by Nick Van Gelder, who is kind of making it difficult for the drivers right now. Kind of looks like he's in the way a little bit. But Funds will love this. He will love that they are battling, and he can just pull out a gap to them. I think 4th will be a very good effort by Funds. Dion doing okay, but Funds, mate, I feel like he's unlocked the true pace of that car now. with a 53.6, which is very impressive by him. See, I feel like the drivers are getting more accustomed to the car now, and you know, everyone's getting a little bit better every lap. No longer in the 2 minutes. Even Reece Marsh is not in the 2 minutes anymore. He's now in the 50s. But Funds, it looks like he is gunning for that 3rd position. I mean, he is setting quite fast laps. You know, Dion is setting quite nice laps right now. Oh, these two are right next to each other. Well, Sandro actually being in 2nd is quite funny, because Dion is in 3rd and he's trying to catch Sandro, and Sandro is right behind him. So these two, I feel like they are good friends in actual real life. So let's see how much friendliness they have on track. I feel like Sandro might get the move done quite easily compared to, because in actual fact he's actually lapping, and then I feel like Jeremy Pope is just in heaven pretty much. He's cruising. Funds, he's in 4th. So Jensen is catching Max quite rapidly, even though Max did set a faster time last time. So let's go. So also, this battle is starting to unfold. Look at this. So we have Max 2 seconds behind, Jensen 2 seconds behind each other's cars, and I feel like them gaps will go down, and then we'll get a nice little battle going. You know, even though this race has been quite dragged out in terms of, you know, not many battles, and it's been quite hard to see these battles because of the thick rain. This is why I think a lot of people change their strategy, because, you know, they'll be losing tons of time if they're not on the right tyre, of course. Cameron is under pressure from Nick, I feel. As you can see, look, they are all very close to each other. I mean, Nick is just been an absolute pain at the moment for these drivers, because he's literally 9 minutes down on these drivers, and he's just in the way at this point. But here we see Max in the double slipstream right now. He wants to make this move on Cameron. Cameron comes across to try and defend, but he sees Max there already. Comes into the corner, breaks into the corner. Nick and Max, I don't know what Nick is doing. He is so far behind these cars, and he's just getting in the way at this point. Jensen will not complain though, because that means he will get a better run on Max. I'm going to have to go on board because I cannot see these drivers, and it's really frustrating. So, as you can see here, this is Jensen. Jensen overtakes Nick, and he's coming up on Cameron very quickly. As you can see, that car is absolutely cruising. Cameron is going 161. Jensen is going 171. Cameron goes really deep into that corner, covers it off. Max really lost some positions there. He really dropped off because of that. I think he span out. So Jensen is right behind Cameron, right behind him, and I feel like he might get him on the NASCAR straight. The first turns, first 2 turns, because that Mercedes seems to absolutely fly. It's quite ridiculous. Jensen very close behind Cameron there. So here we go on this first straight, or corner. It's actually a corner, but or turn, but it's I think he might get him on the second actually, the third and fourth NASCAR turn. I don't think he'll be too brave going into this corner or this bus stop chicane. Cameron seems to go pretty wide there. Probably compromised his exit quite massively. We're on board with Jensen, because you can't see it trackside. You literally, oh, well, actually you can, to be fair. Well, yeah, you can't see it now. Right, so here we go. Jensen really on the inside, and they touch. Cameron's really not allowing this space right now. Cameron really did not want to give up that position to Jensen. Oh, bit of argy-bargy. And Cameron, I think he's going to retake that position. And he retakes the position of Jensen. Oh, this is great. This is the best bit of racing we've had so far in a long time. Nick Van Gelder in the mix, which is quite funny because it's going to hinder Jensen quite a bit. Not on the straight though. But this Max will be loving this right now because it gives him a chance to catch up. And that is exactly what he needs. Jensen is being held up massively right now, but we always know Cameron is a hard defender and he won't let you pass very easily. He's going to make you work your absolute, you know what, off just to try and make that move. You know, and it's getting interesting now, guys. It is getting interesting. 4 cars there. I think that's Reese Marsh just behind, and then you might see Max just enter. Which is very good. This is going to lapping up to be very nice. So Jensen just behind Cameron now, nearly a second off, but I feel like he will close the gap massively because of that power advantage he has, or downforce advantage, either one. Max loses a lot of time on the straights to Jensen. So Nick has actually, I think like Nick has actually done Cameron a favour there, because Jensen, oh mate, gets squeezed. Reese, oh this is getting juicy, guys. Reese is just on the back of this battle. So Jensen on the outside at Cameron. Oh, Cameron's gonna have to let it slide there. Tucks in just behind. Nice move by Jensen. I feel like Jensen might have this move stuck now. Not if Nick has anything to say about it though, because Nick's been pretty much a moving chicane, and he's just absolutely power drive the corner. So Jensen had to slow down to avoid that, but you know, Max is just creeping into this battle actually now. Cameron, I feel that will drop off of Jensen. Jensen just has shown to have a bit more pace than Cameron in this race. And so I feel like Jensen will pull away. Funds, it's just cruising. It's not really caught Dion. Dion hasn't really caught Sandro at all. Sandro's not really caught Jeremy Pope. Jeremy Pope having a flawless race right now, as has to be said. He's been doing very well. He's been very consistent, been very on the pace the whole race, you know. Not really making mistakes. The same can't be said for Kamikaze. You know, Lance has been a bit there and everywhere today, I feel like. I mean, I've seen him doing well consistently, and then sometimes he makes mistakes. So yeah, as I said, you can already see Jensen pulling away massively to Cameron. I think Cameron might be running so much downforce. So, you know, it's a bit tough to keep up with Jensen on that straight, but also Max coming up on his rear now, as you can see. He's catching quite quickly. Cameron a lot slower than the other drivers right now. I mean, I don't think he's got the pace to keep these people behind for too long. I mean, the defending, yeah, of course it's going to be there, but you can only defend for so long until someone behind you takes the position, because you just aren't quick enough. I feel like, yeah, there we go. We see Max make the move on him, and it was very easy for Max there. It's a lot quicker in the straight with the slipstream. Jensen just pulling away now, quite nicely, 4 seconds away from Max. I mean, Jensen has had the pace, but it really just, like, a lot of mistakes, a lot of stupid things that have gone on, to be honest. But I'm quite happy, you know, to see Dion doing so well, because Dion, it's been a bit rough for him in F1, scoring massively consistent points. I mean, yeah, it's just been a bit tough for him. But I think he'll be very happy with where he's sitting right now and where he's come from. You know, and it'll boost his confidence for many races to come, to be fair. It's been very impressive to see his drive, and a little bit of a different strategy to the other drivers. Kept it going long with a massive fuel load, and then obviously got into third, kind of sealed his place. But Fly had a really bad lap that race, bad lap just now. He actually made a mistake, which is, you know, a first. And I'm not going to say it's bad, because out of 66 laps, making one mistake isn't actually that bad. So as you can see, Max has pulled away from Cameron, and he kind of just solidifies my hunch of Cameron really not being on the pace of these drivers. Jensen has made a mistake. Oh, Jensen. Oh, it just keeps supporting my theory of, like, you make mistakes, you lose positions, and not theory, it's just common knowledge. And Cameron is right on the back of him now, and we know Jensen's got the pace, but he's just riddled, like, today with mistakes. It's just been ridiculous, and you can tell, look, even Cameron's got the slipstream, and even with the slipstream, that Merc is just pulling ahead. Like, that Mercedes is insane. So Jensen, this is going to be fun now, because Jensen is behind Max and Cameron is behind Jensen, and this is a battle for fifth. Max is pretty quick. We know Jensen is quick. We know Cameron isn't quickest, but he will pick the leftovers of this battle between Max and Jensen. I'm sorry I didn't pick up that crash live, but I just was trying to focus on Max and Cameron, because Jensen was way ahead, and he's just, I feel like Jensen's just ruined his own race today. He kind of needs to practice on consistency. He's a consistency, like, he's an amazing driver, he really is a great driver, but I think it kind of shows today the endurance. But here we go, 15 minutes left of this race. Jensen catching Max on the straight. No surprise there, the Mercedes is rapid compared to everything else, except for the Porsche, where the Porsche is just, I think the Porsche has just been absolutely ridiculous today. So as you can see, look, Jensen is pulled away from Cameron. So Cameron really needs a battle to start between him and Max to really even have any sort of say on anything. Or he's probably just going to stick in 7th for now. Only if Max and Jensen do not make mistakes. But Jensen is not that far behind Max anymore. In fact, Max made a mistake, so he's just given Jensen the position. I mean, I think personally that I think this race has been very good for some drivers, because some drivers have adapted to the actual race itself and the braking points, but sometimes mistakes like that, and I feel like Max today and Jensen as well, more highlighted too, of like if you make mistakes you lose positions, and you know, it's not exactly ideal. So here we go, Max and Jensen, two, I'd say, very quick drivers. Jensen, I know I'm focused on Jensen a lot, but you know, he's the battle today. Funds, to be fair, I'm very proud of Funds. He's done very well from where he was. Dion doing very well also. Sandro, he's nearly, you know, he's been there. You know, I feel like if he was with Jeremy Pope at the start, he would definitely be close to Jeremy Pope now and battling for the lead, but it's not shaped out like that. So Jensen is just behind Max now, again, well, just in front of Max actually. Now he's under pressure from Max because Max has that slipstream on him, but I think that Merc just goes into a different gear. On that higher gears, that Merc just absolutely pulls away, even if you do have slipstream, which is insane. But okay, the screeching tyres of Max into that corner, and he's around, and Cameron has taken 6th from Max. Oh look, Max has made another mistake, and I've just been riddled today with mistakes and losing the car. And I know it's very difficult, the conditions are very difficult, but it's been, oh, Funds is off, goes very deep into that corner. You can just see they're literally sliding over like boats now. This is how wet it is. They're literally losing the car into motor corners. I'll not be ideal for Funds. Jensen will make up the time in that corner. Cameron will be happy with where he is now because of Max making mistakes. Because on paper, Max has got the pace, but it's been a bit sticky for him. He's been off there and everywhere on the track. Anyways, back on with Jensen. Actually, we have a nice little battle. Oh, no we don't. No we don't. No we don't. I was about to say, we have a nice little battle for here because they were quite close on there. But Rene is around. And he just slams down the power and then loses the car again. Reese is near on, well, a minute behind. A minute and a half behind even. So he's very far away. I was about to say we're going to have a nice little battle for the last points position, but Rene just was around before I could even do that. So it's quite interesting because when Max loses a position, he always ends up getting close to Cameron and taking the place again, but Cameron's just more consistent, so he hasn't gone around. Jensen really putting down the hammer now with a 1:33.8. Funds in front of him, not really matching that time, that last lap, but we do know he can unlock your pace. Jeremy Pope, on board with Jeremy Pope right now, doing really well. He just really has controlled this race so far, and there's not long left until it's over, but last 10 minutes, well 9 minutes, but it's been very impressive with the consistency. But all Funds needs to do is hang on for the last 9 minutes, and then he has a nice little points position. Jensen in 5th, I think he'll be quite frustrated with that considering he started first, but he still has time to amend it. Cameron in 6th, but is fastly getting, caught by Max, and mistakes like that are not going to help Cameron. He actually gains time there on Max with that. A little bit of a cheesy move. Didn't make the chicane, so he's tried to just cut it pretty much. Yeah, Lance is nowhere near this battle. Not even a spin could probably save his race, but he's got 8th so far, and that's the last point position, which I think he'll be happy with. Dion just kind of running his race now, trying to find people with like low fuel. So Funds has the lowest fuel again. Oh no, actually no, Cameron does. Cameron's really been rinsing that rich mix. But Max is on him again. As I said, Max is a good driver, but not very good at keeping it on track. He keeps losing the rear of that car. Very twitchy. Max keeping it nice and tight around there. So Max is very, very close to Cameron now again. I'm quite surprised Max is not really higher in this race, but you know, he's just kind of shown that to a lot of the other drivers that consistency is key, you know. And he's just not really kept that consistency from the snow derby. But that is okay, because it is only the first round, and you don't win the championship in the first round. But if Jeremy Pope's performance is anything to go off, I feel like it's going to be a very hard battle for the fast guys to be on his level, because he's very much, well, let's just say he's taken the reins and run with it very much. And the horsepower in that car has been used very well today. No mistakes. Sandro doing very well in the Akira. Very nice car, to be fair. Not a very prominent car on the grid right now, but doing really well. Dion did very well in McLaren. Love a McLaren, one of my favourite cars. Fon's doing quite well. Jensen is closing behind him though, but he does only have 5 minutes to close up, and you know, he might do that because he is taking what, near on a second and a bit out of him. But Fon's just ridiculous on the straight. Even Jensen's car isn't as quick as Fon's is on the straight. That's ridiculous. Max is really, really trying to claw in Cameron in these last couple of minutes. You know, if he doesn't not close it in, obviously he will finish 7th. But I doubt he wants to finish 7th, because he probably expects himself to at least get a 6th spot over Cameron. So we can see Rene has caught back up to Lance. Rene really closing up now on them. We have 2 battles going on right now, but this is the closest one on track. Fox just has a power advantage over Rene right now. I mean, just a little one. Max is kind of closing up on Cameron, but he doesn't have very long to do it, so he better get a move on. Rene, he wants that final points position. Reese just hits the board. I don't know what Reese is doing. He's still drinking that coffee from qualifying. But he might, I don't know, he'll get the move done here. Yeah, Kamikaze Fox is too quick on the straights for Rene. He's just not quick enough. But Max only has 3 minutes and 30 left to try and catch Cameron. Cameron is holding on. Jensen will not catch Funds at this rate. Dion, Sandro, and Jeremy Pope just absolutely flying away. Nick Van Gelder is pretty much, I don't know what he's doing. He's just doing something. Max is only a second behind Cameron now. He might have him here. If Cameron makes a mistake, which I doubt, he does make it very nice there. Max goes right over the dirt. Quite mental, right there. But he's trying to do everything in his power to get up into them decent positions. Funny enough, Cameron actually, you know, will keep that position if he doesn't go deep. Max does go deep, really deep. Cameron will probably keep that position now. Max doesn't have a lot of time left. Rene has actually overtaken Lance for that last points position. Lance will probably be quite frustrated with that. Not very happy with that, purely because he will want them points. Points are key in any racing event or series. Max isn't too far behind. He could get him on the straights. Jensen, he's catching. He set a 52.8. That is insane by Jensen. Really cutting into the time. He might actually get him here. And Jensen is really putting his foot down. Really wants that position. But here we go. This is insane. Right now, here we see Max currently just behind Cameron. Cameron knows there's not a lot of time left in this race, so he needs to defend this position massively. Cameron goes really hard on the brakes, but goes too hard. He goes way too hard on the brakes. Cuts in. Max very much on the back of Cameron. Oh, gets amazing exit compared to Cameron. You can't really see it, so I've got to go on this view. And this is insane, because this is going to decide who is going to be in P6. Cameron gets overtaken. Oh, God. Let's go trackside. You can't really see much, that's why I have to keep switching cameras. So, here we go. Max takes the position of Cameron, just in the death. Jensen. So, here we go. Jeremy Pope just absolutely cruising right now. Absolutely insane. Cameron takes a position back from Max. This is the last lap for these people to do their moves and take their positions. So everyone will have to do their last lap. But Max will need to get a move on. I don't know who that was in the... Yeah, I think that was Nick. But Max is right on the back of Cameron. Look how close that is. His last position for good points. But Max does have the straight line speed advantage. We know this. We've seen this for the last couple of laps compared to these two cars. I don't know why Max has such a better advantage. It probably has lower downforce than Cameron, and Cameron has high downforce. Cameron goes heavy on the brakes, really heavy, taps Max. Max goes off the track fairly, I'd say, because Cameron has kind of barged him into that, out of that corner. But we'll see. Cameron is on the inside. Last lap, up to the line. This is going to be a really close, really close. Oh, Cameron, oh, that was really a squeeze by Cameron. Oh my God, it was so deep. Here we go, really late on the brakes. So, Jeremy Pope wins the Daytona 2.4 hours Grand Prix GT3. What a race. What a race. But we come back onto the battle. Max has actually overtaken Cameron. Here we go. Sandro Dulius will be very, very happy with this right now. He just needs to stick in his lane and finish. It's insane because Jeremy Pope was so far ahead of everyone else. The boys still haven't finished yet. It's insane by Jeremy Pope. Really was insane. So Sandro finishes P2. Dion finishes P3. Funds finishes P4. Jensen. But everyone's pretty much doing donuts now, as you can see. Kamikaze Fox doing donuts. Red A doing donuts. There's a completed race for you there, guys. Except for Max and Cameron on the line. Here we go. Who's going to finish? Oh, that was so close. I don't know who finished. I think Cameron is just a little bit behind by nearly 10,000. Oh my god. So here we go. Jeremy Pope is your winner. Sandro Dulius is second. Dion Stoll third, but very impressive. Funds fourth. Jensen fifth. Max sixth. Cameron seventh. Very close finish. Lance eighth. Rene Van Staat ninth. Reese 10th, and I believe your last couple of driver is Nick Van Gelder and Rob Small. As you can see, the first two people who actually drove only pit once. Dion pit very early, and I feel like that strategy kind of worked for him in the end. But it was very, very impressive from the drivers today. I think Jeremy Pope was the class on the field today. He was really impressive, and I think he really flexed the muscles of being quicker than everyone else and very much more consistent. I think he will be a very massive favourite for the title if that is the performances he's going to be bringing to the table. It's insane how he controlled the field, you know, and only very, very skilled drivers do that, you know. So we are going to get interviews with our best podium finishers and race winner of course. I might start it from P3 to P2 to P1, or we might, I don't know, it depends. I need to send these guys a friend request anyway, so, well, not all of them. We'll add we're going to quickly add these guys to the, and then I'll talk to first place first, then second place, and then third place. Very good race though, by the drivers. So we got first place in here. We're going to wait for second and third. They're just going to have to mute themselves. So, Jeremy Pope, how was that race for you? Because you looked like you were absolutely killing it.
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to take first or win. I thought I was going to be in the mix. I honestly thought like Nick and Jensen was going to win, but it just worked out that way. My pace was consistent. That's always something I go for. Yeah. And the car was very stable. You know, thank you, Rob, for that setup. It was very nice. But yeah, I mean, I had a half spin and I overshot the bus stop once. But other than that, everything was fine.
Yeah, no, it was quality. It was great. It was great to watch. I mean, your consistency, hitting them lap times and really maximising the pace of the car, you could really see it. I'd say we were very impressed with, well, me, I'm the only person in the commentary box, I was very impressed with your way to just control a race. Like, honestly, it was very impressive. With your setup, was it a higher downforce or a lower downforce setup? Because you looked very quick on the straights.
It was a lower downforce setup, but I mean, I had good straight line speed. I just didn't have, you know, the speed like Jensen.
Yeah.
52.3, which is amazing. But yeah, other than that, the race was amazing.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I feel like, to be honest, you really showed the field how to do it today. Consistency is key in any GT3 race, I feel. You know, Jensen was very quick today. He was very quick, but he had many mistakes, and I think that cost him a lot of time. And you know, he had a lot of damage in the end as well. So, you know, he is a very quick driver, and if he can keep it clean, it'll be great. But compared to you, it was fantastic driving. Anything you'd like to say about, you know, the conditions on track, because, you know, they looked like they were changing here from there like a lot.
Honestly, I didn't do any practice for the rain. I thought it was just gonna be dry. I thought quali was gonna be wet when it was on random, but the whole race was just wet, and that just caught everybody out. I don't think anybody practiced for the rain. So.
Yeah, you could really see in the last couple of laps, well, the last couple of minutes, that people were actually trying to adjust to the rain, and the lap times were becoming a lot better. But a lot of people looked like they got caught out, and one of those people that looked like they didn't get caught out was you, obviously. You were nearly a whole minute ahead of, I mean, second place. And the field was pretty much 3 minutes behind you, which was insane. But it's a trophy, you know, that you could take home now. And you've done really well, and it should set you up really nicely for the season and going into round 2.
Yeah, I hope so. I was a little bit worried about this race, but everything worked out today, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Do you,
a lot of competition.
Do you feel like you could take this consistency and pace into next round of the actual GT3 series?
Honestly, I hope I can. This is way too early to say, but
yeah.
You know, I'm gonna just put in my laps, just practice.
Yeah, that was a fantastic bit of racing from you. Honestly, I was trying to flick onto you a couple of times because I didn't want to completely leave you out. I wanted to show people how good your driving was. You know, you wasn't battling too much, but you were just keeping it consistent and clean, and it was very impressive to watch, man. So well done for the race win today.
Thanks.
No problem, man. Take care.
You too.
Okay, so we now have second place in. It is Sandro Dulius. I think he'll be very happy with this result, considering all things. How do you feel today about that, Sandro?
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm quite happy. I'll take P2 every day. Obviously, it's not the best. You always want to win. That's just the mindset you have as a racer. But I'm really happy with P2. I think I was really consistent today, which I haven't done all the time in the past in the Project Cars 2 races. I haven't had any spins despite the bad conditions, so I'm quite happy with that. Was quite consistent all the way, didn't have any major incidents. It was actually quite a boring race from my standpoint, but hey, I'll take it, man. P2 in the 2.4 hours of Daytona. Like, Daytona, one of my favorite tracks in the world, so yeah, man, I'm quite happy with P2. I'll take it. And congratulations to Jeremy. He drove a stellar race today.
Yeah, no, it was very impressive from you today. Honestly, it was good consistency. I was very impressed with it. I mean, at the start, it was a little bit wobbly, of course, because you lost a couple positions. And,
yeah, the start.
Sorry, I just got cut out because someone opened my door. But it was very consistent and very impressive. I mean, of course, you only lost a couple of positions, but you kept your head and obviously made up the positions and kept going.
Yeah, my start wasn't too great, but that's what I usually do. You know, I lay back a little bit, let it play out, find my rhythm, and that's what worked in the end. As the others started making mistakes, I stayed pretty clean and picked up the positions, and ultimately ended up in P2.
Yeah, it was really good, man, and I was very happy to see it because, you know, I know you have the pace, Sandro, and a lot of people do. We all do know you have the pace. It's just whether you keep it consistent, and, you know, you really showed that today, man, and it was very impressive with the P2 finish, especially considering you qualified P3. So, in all things considered, you actually made up a lot.
Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I'm really happy with the result.
Yeah, today. That's good, man. It's good points for next round. Anyways, you take care and, you know, keep driving, keep practicing.
Thanks a lot, man.
No problem, dude. Okay, so we are on to our last podium finisher, which is Dion Stoll, which I think he'll be very happy with this result, considering all things, you know, being P9 at one point, and making it up to P3. Dion, how do you feel about that?
Well, it was a surprising race actually, because yeah, it was raining at the start pretty hard, and then well, I spun because there was a puddle and I didn't see it enough because yeah, all the spray at the start. And then I was actually in P11 at the time, and then I started gaining positions, but then I spun and unfortunately collected this max as well a bit, but I got damage from it.
Yeah,
and then I lost pace, and yeah, I pitted, and because I pitted I made a huge undercut, and that's actually what helped me, because I had much more fuel than everybody, and because of that I had wall race actually free air. And while everybody else was battling, I could make an overcut and get P3 in the end.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw massive, like, the strides you made in that race, just to keep it consistent as well. Like, you wasn't crashing, you wasn't spinning, you wasn't losing the car at all. You just kept it consistent and just, well, kept on the track, which many people found it really hard to do today with, like, the conditions. How did you feel with the condition change? Was that in your favour?
It was pretty nice, because well, at the start it was yeah, everybody was finding his grip here and there, and well, everybody was struggling, I think, at least I was. And then yeah, I found some pace, and then here and there you saw where the puddles were forming and were going away a bit, and yeah, I just chose my line and went for it and hoped that I didn't spin. And sometimes I did a bit. Losing control, but yeah, it was not that I crashed anymore, so I was happy with that. And in the end, P3, well, when you think that at the start I was P11, I'm pretty happy with that. So
yeah, no, that was a good drive by you, mate. And from the commentary box, I was very impressed. I kept highlighting your comeback in the field and how impressive it actually was. So P3 for you today was very impressive, and you should be very proud of yourself and have a lot of confidence going into the next round.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyways, take care, and that will be the end of round 1 at Daytona Road Course in SRL League. I hope that everyone enjoyed that. It was a very long race, very long one, but we all enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it mostly. It was a very long one, but I enjoyed it. But everyone, take care, and till next time, it's all good.